Here we are backstage with the brilliant Margo Price, mere moments after her jubilant set, kicking off the Sunday evening at the Edmonton Folk Music Festival of 2023. What a magical set. Margo Price, thank you so much for that amazing music, and thanks for being here and doing this with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So how do you feel after a set like that? Like, what's the sensation like of coming down from a live performance of this sort?
Yeah, it's always very high adrenaline, and getting off of the stage, you have a little bit of glow, and the band and I were just ruminating back in the dressing room and talking to Gregory Alan Isaacoff and his band. It's been a wonderful day.
And how is it these days? Because it's been a couple of years since you decided to turn the page and go sober, and I have to think like maybe the post-show ritual changes a little bit among many other things.
Yeah, it does change. I mean, I just poured my band a round of tequila shots backstage, but I just didn't partake, and it's been an adjustment, but honestly, it makes everything just so much easier when you're not battling a hangover. And I'm the kind of person that, like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it all the way. Yeah. So, even in my quote-unquote sobriety, I mean, they did bring us some pre-rolled joints back there. So I did get to have some of Canada's finest. Right. I mean, y'all got it figured out here with having weed legal. You know, you really do.
One or two things we have kind of elevated to the next level. It's true.
Many things. And
we're so grateful to have you here at this festival. This is a real, it's interesting. You've been through Alberta a couple of times this summer, the Calgary Stampede and the Edmonton Folk Fest, two rather different cultural events, I suppose.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the really interesting things about my band is that we're versatile, and we can go play like the Calgary Stampede and play really a full set of country songs, and then we can go play a folk festival, and we can go play, even psych rock or, yeah, stuff that's a little bit more psychedelic, and just kind of shape shift in whatever the day may need.
And it's cool how much you get to express during even just the one set, like you're playing guitar, you're playing dulcimer, you're playing drums, you're playing cowbell. Costume change. You're throwing roses out to the crowd at the end of the show. Amazing.
Yeah, you gotta, we don't travel with like a big lighting rig or anything when I'm doing my solo touring, and I've just tried to find little meaningful things that make the show unique, and a costume change is one of them. Definitely kind of borrowed that from James Brown. I also really owe a lot to Charles Bradley. He was one of my favorite performers I ever saw, and I had the chance to meet him a couple times, and that is where I got the roses, was watching him perform, and he would always come down and go out into the crowd and give everybody roses, and I thought that was just such a beautiful way to give back to the audience.
And to make that connection fast, right? Like to make an actual physical totem of we're exchanging something here.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Incredible. I get the sense connection is very valuable for you, and obviously a lot of what you do is digging deep to express yourself, but getting it across to people and making that connection, making that full current, that full circle happen. Is that where the reward is for you as a performer?
Yeah, I think when I look out into the crowd and I see young children out there, and especially young girls, I love to be able to get around and play every instrument, get back behind the drum kit, and just show them that they can do anything.
I love that so much. And I have to say too, just by the by, I am a drummer, and I've always loved your drumming so much. I know you have a vast musical education, but where do the drums come in for you?
Well, like I was talking about the band earlier on stage when we covered Evangeline, Levon Helm is one of my favorite singing drummers, and I started playing the drums when I was about 20 years old.
Wow.
And just kind of sat behind the drum kit one day and realized that I could play. And I'd attempted it when I was younger, but it just didn't click.
Yeah.
And when I turned 20, I just got back there and tried it and realized I could hold down a beat. I've never had a lesson in my life. I just play by feel.
You're just like, this is what I already do with my strumming hand, but I do it over here on the cymbal or something.
Well, I used to be a dancer as well. Right. I used to tap dance. Yeah. So I think being able to use your right and left brain and, separate doing something different with your right foot and your left foot and both your hands. Drumming, it does take a lot of talent to drum. So,
or at least
glad
some
I'm
coordination.
talking to. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know Levon always said, like, singing made it easier for him to play drums and vice versa.
I know you've watched those tutorials.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes, they're my
Legendary,
favorite
right? Yeah.
YouTube tutorials. Check out Levon
So I guess
Helm.
we're both self-taught, but
Yes.
with the exception of Levon
watching
Helm
Levon
tutorials.
Helm videos. Yeah. Yeah, he always said it makes it easier, and I do actually sit back there and sing sometimes. We've been covering this Elvis Costello song, Pump It Up.
Right, yeah.
And I went into the studio with T-Bone Burnett to work on this movie soundtrack, and he said, I want you to sing Pump It Up by Elvis Costello. Now, that is basically like Subterranean Homesick Blues on speed or something. It's, it's a lot of words, and if I can sit back there and sing, I've been on tender hooks thinking about dirty looks, and then hold down the beat, it's almost like I can't think about it too hard or I'll just mess it up. I don't know about making it easier, though. Levon was one of a kind.
So I was just so blown away to hear you perform Evangeline. I mean, for so many reasons, especially knowing like your connection with Emmylou Harris and,
Yes.
Seeing you up there doing that was just brought a wee tear to my eye.
Thank you.
Obviously, as you so eloquently said, Robbie Robertson casts this incredible shadow across all of Americana music globally, but I mean, especially in Canada. What is your feeling for the music of Robbie and of the band?
I do not know where I would be without the band and without all of those records in my life, because they, here most of them were Canadians, and then obviously some of them were Southerners, but they fused so many things together, being able to do country and like country funk and make things, not fit in this perfect box.
Right.
They were the perfect melting pot, and the songs that they wrote were so incredible. I had the honor of performing at the Last Waltz 50th anniversary in Nashville at the Bridgestone Arena.
Right.
And I sang Tears of Rage completely a cappella, but I did get the chance to meet Robbie and sing with him and talk with him, and he was just so humble and so kind, and one of my heroes. Watching him play with Dylan and his whole entire career, all the things he's worked on with Martin Scorsese, he just leaves a gaping hole in the music world.
And I know the song Tears of Rage means a lot to you personally, and you've performed it and had it performed in exceptional circumstances. Powerful song in all kinds of ways. Yeah.
Oh, it's some of the best songwriting ever, really, and just so grateful that I found the band when I was young and impressionable and in my 20s, because I just think that it absolutely shaped me in this way that I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know where I'd be without them.
Great songs don't have to literally mean anything necessarily in order to be great songs, but that line, why must I always be the thief, captivates me. I don't understand it, but it just fascinates me and hits me so hard. I don't know.
Yes.
Do you have any feeling inside for what that is for you, or?
Oh, I know. I think it's just like when people can ask a question like that and turn it around, and it's this way that you kind of can commiserate with the listener. That song gets me every time.
Yeah, it's impressionistic and trippy and just wow.
Yeah.
And a summer song too, right?
Yes.
Independence Day and all that.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'd love to, because this record Strays is just wow, what a killer diller, what a tour de force. And I heard a rumor that you wrote 3 of those songs in one day. Can this be true?
Yes, I believe Change of Heart, Light Me Up, and Been to the Mountain were all the day after this large psilocybin mushroom trip that my husband and I took together. And we just, that evening, we listened to a ton of records. We listened to Patti Smith, Horses, Bob Dylan, Time Out of Mind, and Tom Petty, Hypnotic Eye. And then the next day, it was like we just were filled with so much inspiration, and those songs fell out. Very lucky.
Those are all 3 like epics too, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm curious to know if, because Been to the Mountain it's one of those like mythic kind of, it feels very personal, but also maybe not, like very it feels like a parable of sorts. And I love that you kicked off your show with it. It's such a mission statement.
Yeah.
Where does that one come for you, do you think?
Well, it definitely has some autobiographical lines in it, but that one feels more like one of those kind of cosmic songs that is just about everybody and all of the different people that you've been in past lives. And I mean, it's a little woo-woo, it's a little hippy-dippy, but I think, yeah, that's one of those mystical songs that just kind of came, and the poem and everything, it all came together so naturally and so effortlessly.
I mean, it's hippy-dippy, but like in an outlaw way, right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I love where that song has taken me, and kind of writing it felt like a bit of a breakthrough too, and just thinking like, okay, I can put poetry in here. I can say anything I want, and I like starting the set with it because it just kind of shows people like, okay, we didn't know what we were in for, but now we definitely don't know what we're in for.
We're charting a course. Yeah. And I know, having read your unbelievable memoirs from 2022, incredible book.
Thank you.
Like, oh, that lyric in that song, that's like, wow, a lot of this is based on true fact. It kind of blows me away. I know that not everything is for a songwriter, though, so I don't want to assume too much. But just before we turn you loose, thank you so much for this time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And amazing that you could have that kind of output in such a short time. It reminds me of your friend Willie Nelson famously wrote 3 of his greatest songs in 1 week in 1958, right?
Yes.
Most of them on a single drive, back home to Texas, I think. It was Crazy and Nightlife and Funny How Time Slips Away.
It's moments like that you really have to be. I was just listening to a podcast. Rick Rubin was talking about inspiration and where to find it, and he said the muse will find you, but it has to find you working. And I think the more you write and the more you sit down and can get your phone out of your hand and get all the other distractions out of your way, if you sit down and tap into something, you'll be gifted with a song. Sometimes it doesn't happen 3 in a day like that, but when it does, I feel very blessed.
Well, we're so blessed to have you. And just out of curiosity, if you were to go listen to a song right now or play a song yourself, what song would that be? I'm just curious because we're on the radio and we're going to play a song now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see.
Any song. Your song, someone else's?
Tonight I wanted to play Hell in the Heartland, which is a song from my most recent album. But my husband, he does a lot of the guitar parts on that, and he lost his passport yesterday, so he couldn't come with us. So maybe y'all can play Hell in the Heartland and let the festival goers know what they missed.
And always leave them wanting more, right?
Absolutely.
Margo Price, thank you. What a treat. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for playing my music. It means a lot.